You want to say hi to the camera? No? Yeah? Hi. Hey there, my name is Stanley. I'm 25 years old, and I'm training for my very first marathon, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. If you're someone who is curious about running, or maybe you just started getting into it and you're starting to watch some, YouTube content about it, then this video is for you. I'm hoping that me sharing my perspective as a beginner, I'm not super fast, I'm not super experienced, and I'm not an expert, but hopefully me sharing my experience along with my perspective will be of value to you, maybe more so, or at least in a different way than a lot of the other content on this platform where you have professionals, people who run full-time, they're running 6-minute miles and 2.5-hour marathons. That's not me. I just ran my very first half marathon a few months ago. I finished in over 2 hours. I was about 9:37 pace. Currently in the summer, my easy pace is anywhere from 11 to 12 minutes per mile. So definitely not an expert, but I've been sticking with it very consistently for the past about 7 months now. And in this video, I'm going to break down how I got to this point, what I am doing in my training now that works, and maybe a few things that you can take out of this as well towards the end. So if this kind of stuff is interesting to you, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Now, the first topic I would like to cover in this video is how long I've been running, what's my experience, and where am I coming from. You can get to know a little bit more about me in the running sense. I started running about 1 year ago exactly. I had never really run before. I did track in middle school for 1 year. I ran the 2-mile, I did a sprint, and I did the long jump because I had no idea what I was doing, and I absolutely sucked at the sprint and the 2-mile. I could barely get through that without walking. In fact, I think I had to walk throughout that. I was never able to run 2 miles consecutively. I only did decent at the long jump. So no prior running experience until about last year. So why did I pick it up? Well, I really can't remember. I think I just started doing it, for health. I thought, hey, cardio is good for you. Let me give this a shot. I started running a bit on the treadmill. I was like, this is interesting. Maybe not as hard as I thought it would in these shorter distances, 1-2 miles I was able to do. So I thought, you know what? Let's sign up for a 5K. I can run 3.1 miles, I'm sure, so let's do it. So I sign up for my first 5K, I train a bit for it, and I complete it. It was very difficult getting through that without walking, but I did it. And after that, I was hooked. I thought, you know what, this is actually really fun. I like being able to prep for this big thing, show up on race day, be surrounded by a bunch of people who are 10 times better than you at this thing, who have been doing it 10 times longer, and just go out there, give it all you got, cross the finish line, and usually get some cool stuff like a medal and like free bananas and things like that afterwards. So I thought to myself, you know what? What's the next step? What's the natural progression? Well, it would be like a 10K and then maybe a half marathon and then a full marathon. So I said, let's just go all out. Let's do the full marathon. Why the heck not? How hard could it be? Much harder than I thought. Because training went well for maybe a month or two. It was going well. I made it to running a 10K race. I actually ran my first 10K on Mackinac Island during the Lilac Festival, the morning that I got engaged. So that's a fun fact for you. Probably one of the best runs I've ever done, knowing that later that evening I was going to propose. And luckily she said yes. If she said no, yeah, I don't know. I might have just stayed on the island at that point for the rest of my life. But anyway, after that, a few weeks go by. I do my 10-mile long run. That's the longest run I ever did. And then the following week after that, I got injured. Why? What was I doing wrong? Well, that brings me to the next point of this video, which is what happened, what are some of the challenges and pitfalls that I, as a beginner runner, have fallen into? The first thing, I was not wearing real running shoes. I know that sounds absolutely idiotic, And it was. But for some reason, I am sometimes very ignorant about things or just unaware. And I just didn't realize that real running shoes were a thing and that the technology was there to literally prevent you from getting injured and to facilitate running correctly. So I was just wearing these random tennis shoes, which I'll show a little clip here so you can see. These are not real running shoes. So that was one thing. They were not supporting my body weight and my gait as I was running. So I ended up with an ankle injury. I also had ramped up my mileage too much too fast. I was running 5 times a week, and without a prior base and without the fortitude in my tendons and ligaments and all that fun stuff, I ended up with an injury, put me out for several weeks. Very discouraging. But although it was a setback, it was also fuel. It was mental fuel for me to come back and do it the right way. I used the time off while I was recovering to focus on educating myself on how to start endurance running, distance running properly. I got myself a real pair of running shoes that helped support my specific, I tend to overpronate, so I got shoes to, kind of correct for that and provide stability. And I made sure when I come back to running, I am going to ramp up much slower, and I'm only going to do 4 runs a week so that I do not get injured again, is the goal. I also was not doing any strength training, so I was just running and pounding on the pavement 5 times a week, and it just didn't work out. So now, I'm coming back to this with a fresh perspective. I first trained for a half marathon, and I completed that successfully just a couple months ago. Thankfully, I made it through unscathed. I took a week off after that to kind of recover, and then I'm jumping right after that into full marathon training, of which I am about 6 weeks into. It's going well so far, knock on wood. Now, why am I training for this marathon? Why am I putting myself through this, and why is it a goal that I've set out to achieve? And I think if you are interested in getting into this sport, whether it is just for health, for a 5K, 10K, marathon, whatever it may be, this is an important question for you to ask as well, is why am I doing this? Because if you don't know and you just watched some videos and got influenced and said, I'm going to start running, but you don't actually have a reason, then when it gets hard and when you don't feel like lacing up and going out for the run, then you're not going to. So you need to have some deeper reason. Now, if you're just starting to get into it, just get out the door a few times and try it out. And then eventually, start thinking maybe while you are on the run, do it without headphones. I like to run without headphones most of the time. And just kind of sit and simmer with your thoughts as you're running. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to continue doing this? And figure that out. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I'm doing it. It's mainly to prove it to myself. There's not really many external motivating factors to training for this marathon. It's mostly for myself. I have always been a guy who tends to pick up a lot of hobbies, a lot of skills, and learn things pretty quickly, but never master them and never, see them through to anything super tangible. I kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none. So I thought, well, hey, you know what? Less than 1% of the population of the world will run a marathon in their lifetime. Less than 3% will run a half marathon. These are just generic statistics I found in a quick Google search, but I want to be part of that 1% to run a marathon. I want to be part of a select portion of the population who have done something challenging and something that most people will not commit to and see through. So what am I doing differently this time around in my marathon-specific training that I did not do properly last time? Well, I've already shared a few. 1, I'm wearing actual running shoes. Go figure. 2, I am not increasing my mileage too much too fast. I am not starting at a super high volume, which I had done last time. I am starting lower and slowly ramping my way up. I did a half marathon block and race before committing to a marathon training plan. So that in itself was kind of a preparation, a preparatory phase. I'm also doing strength training. I am currently doing about once a week. I would like to do more. I would like to get that up to 2 times a week as I continue through the plan. But for the first few weeks here, I have been doing once a week, and I've found it very beneficial. Makes my legs feel a bit stronger and a bit more fresh. Kind of mixes things up from just hitting the pavement. And this next one goes along with the volume increase that I've talked about, but being honest with my current level of fitness. Taking into account that I have this ankle injury that's going to follow me, although I don't feel it right now, but it could always come back. That's always a risk. So I'm always monitoring my body, listening to the signals that it's giving me, and taking my recovery very seriously. I'm only running 4 times a week now instead of 5, and I'm following a training plan that is more specific to me and my level of fitness. I am enjoying using the app Runna by Strava. Not sponsored or anything. I just honestly think it's been a great app and a great training plan for me, where you put in a lot of your information, your age, height, all of this stuff. I actually can't remember if the height and weight is in there, but you put in all of that. You put in your running experience, what your current race times are that you've done, and it calculates the training plan up to an actual race day that you set, week by week, day by day of training, and provides you with pacing guidelines for you to hit. And you can adjust if the pacing seems too difficult or too easy, of course. It provides you with hill training, intervals, long runs, and all of this. And I really enjoy that. I enjoy being able to see the entire plan laid out, know that it's kind of tailored to me. I can adjust it if I need to. And then I can also see my target race pace at the end, so I know what I'm working towards and whether or not I'm realistically going to be able to meet that. So following that training plan is also a major improvement to what I was doing before. I would like to wrap up this video with a summary of things that I think you should consider taking away from the video, maybe things that you should keep in mind after you close this out. One of them, and maybe the most important, would be to be honest with yourself. Really take into consideration your motivation for running. Why are you doing this? What are your ultimate goals? Not just in the short term, not just I want to run a marathon this fall, but what do I want to be doing a year, 5 years, 10 years from now? Do I still want to be running, or do I just want to accomplish this goal and then move on to something else? If you want to run for a long time, then you have to get into it the right way. You have to start slow, both pacing and in volume. Actually get yourself a pair of real running shoes. Don't make my mistake. If you wear improper footwear, then you will likely get injured. The stress will be applied on your feet and your legs improperly, so don't take that risk. I would recommend, if you can, investing in a quality pair of running shoes, about $150. Well worth it. Now, if you're someone who has never done a 5K before, or a 10K or anything like that, but you'd like to, or like to see if it's for you, then I would recommend, again, start slow, get a good quality pair of running shoes, and start with maybe a 5K, a couch to 5K or a couch to 10K program, where you start off with some run-walk intervals, and you slowly work your way throughout the course of maybe 8 weeks to running 20 to 30 minutes consecutively. And then you show up for race day, you run the 3.1 miles, you feel on top of the world, you get a free banana afterwards, and it's all great. And then you feel motivated to pursue bigger and better goals in the future. Maybe that's another 5K where you beat your time, or a 10K, or a half marathon, or maybe you want to commit to the full final boss of well, it's not really a final boss because people are crazy and go out and do ultra marathons, but maybe you decide to do the full marathon, and you're going to cross those other milestones along the way. Anyway, I think that's enough rambling for this video. If anything you want to take out of this, start slow, do your research, get some running shoes, maybe get a watch, but you can start with your phone, track your GPS, your pacing and your distance on there, but it is nice to just look down at the watch and get your heart rate and all that fun stuff. So that's another investment you can make, but it's definitely not necessary just starting out. I would recommend the shoes first, because that's actually going to protect your body and keep you from getting injured. So I think that's a wrap on this. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and happy running. Have a great rest of your day.